What we are is Ngarrindjeri people. The name Kulmatri originally was Kulatinjeri, which means belonging to the freshwater soaks. So the freshwater soaks of the lower River Murray, the lower lake system, the Coorong, the Southern Ocean, and all the way over to Kangaroo Island. So our family belongs to all of those freshwater soaks. The whole process of hunting and gathering is a part of our system. It is something that is so important that we have done for tens of thousands of years, whether or not it be kangaroos, whether or not it is gathering of bush foods, whether or not it is a collecting up of bush medicines, whatever it might be, the gathering up of materials to feed our family, like the ducks, for example. Our people have a long history of weaving, whereby our men and our women weaved baskets. We weaved many things. But one of the most important things is we weave nets to be able to capture ducks. So we've captured ducks for food, for the process of life, of living for tens of thousands of years. For us, unless you're really passionate about the hunting of foods in general in society, it might not mean much. However, to our people, if we lost the right to hunt, if we lost the right to be able to hunt ducks in particular, it would leave an empty space in us. We have something deep within that we call our miwi. If our miwi is empty, we have nothing. If we lose the right, that cultural right to be able to hunt, we would have nothing. What Ngarrindjeri have is a system called the Nyachi system. It is a system whereby, as a collective, as a family groupings, we had something to look after. It is almost like a totem, but it's far more deeper than that. That deepness, that enrichedness is something called the Nyachi system, whereby we had something that we had to look after in the environment. And it is where hunters have something like ducks to look after, whereby that is the thing that they're passionate about, the thing that they know the most. For our people, we also have a Nyachi that's deep within our miwi, that we have a responsibility to look after. That responsibility means looking after the environment that it lives in, ensuring that there's fresh water, shelter, protection, and then they give back to us through a food source. They give back to us by the way we use the whole duck, we use the whole kangaroo, we use the whole emu, we use everything to make sure that our life is a sustainable one. And that's the importance of it. So some of our people, their Nyachi is actually the duck. And what happens there, they have a responsibility of looking after it. That same system is transferable to all peoples of the world. So when people are talking about the conservation and looking after ducks for a food source, they do far more than just getting it as a food. They have to look after the whole environment that that duck lives in. If we don't do that, we have no ducks. If we don't do that and care for the environment, we have nothing. The environment and everything fails. That whole Nyachi system fails if we don't follow through the whole process. For us, all foods have to be looked after in the environment. People know the difference of eating lamb, for example, that has been raised on really good pasture. You can taste, for example, we can taste the difference if lamb is in saltbush. That flavour goes right through it. If you have some of this processed meals, like the chickens, that are just churned out, one after the other, one after the other, you really taste the difference. There's no flavour in them. When we are eating the right food, it creates a health system for us. We are then clear, not only in our miwi, our hearts, our heads, our whole body is in that. And if we don't have that wholesome food, we have nothing. What is the point in eating cardboard? You're better off eating the nice food that comes with it, because that's where the nutrients is. That's what our people have done for tens of thousands of years. We've lived off the land. It has sustained us and we've sustained it because it is wholesome, great food to eat. And that food, we get the nutrients, we get the richness of it. You might as well eat a piece of cardboard as to have some of the processed foods that potentially we may be forced to eat. Hunting and gathering is a process. The women quite often gathered with the children. And at the same time, our men were off with the young boys and the young men getting these foods, whether or not be ducks, kangaroos, emus, whatever, wild game. They went off. And it's not just about going to get the food. There are stories that are told. The understanding of the environment, the understanding of what was before, the understanding what we might need to do in the future. So it's a whole of community that the stories are told. And that's where our learning, because we come from an oral tradition. We don't come from a tradition that we can pick it up in a book. We don't come from a tradition that you can Google something. Our traditional ways was to learn off the land, and the land learns of us. And it's a two-way process of learning. So these stories are told as we grow up from little people all the way through to adulthood, whereby this learning is a continued process. My Michi, is named Mark. I support the hunting of wild game. If that is taken away, we have nothing. You don't have a right to take that away from us. You don't have a right to control our lives, whether or not we live or die. You don't have that right. So don't you dare try to take it away from our people.